talking directly with him about that this afternoon. And we are streaming live. And today we're streaming live from my personal Facebook page. And so we're have some work to do on the Star 92.7 page. So you can find me on Ruthana M. Young on Facebook. And so if you want to watch via the Facebook live stream, you can watch from there. You can also, of course, tune in on the radio, and 943-3700 is the line in the studio. You can also WhatsApp me 324-1565 if you have any questions, comments, or concerns. Of course, the live comments are open on the live Facebook feed, so that you can add any comments or questions there, which I can also read out loud for you. So, and you can also email me straighttalkci@gmail.com, whatever works for you this afternoon. But you guys know the deal. Before we go any further into our conversation, we always start our time together with the reading of today's daily bread. Just a moment focused on God. So today's daily bread is entitled Strength in Suffering and comes from Matthew 5, verse 10, and reads, Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness. In 1948, Harlan Popov, the pastor of an underground church, was taken from his home for a little questioning. 2 weeks later, he received a round the clock interrogation and no food for 10 days. Each time he denied being a spy, he was beaten. Popov not only survived his harsh treatment, but also led fellow prisoners to Jesus. Finally, 11 years later, he was released and continued to share his faith until 2 years later, he was able to leave the country and be reunited with his family. He spent the following years preaching and raising money to distribute Bibles in closed countries. Like countless believers in Jesus throughout the ages, Popov was persecuted because of his faith. Christ, long before his own torture and death and the subsequent persecution of his followers, said, Blessed are those who are persecuted because of righteousness, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven. He continued, Blessed are you when people persecute you and falsely say all kinds of evil against you because of me. Blessed? What could Jesus have meant? He was referring to the wholeness, joy, and comfort found in a relationship with him. Popov persevered because he felt the presence of God infusing strength into him even in suffering. When we walk with God, no matter our circumstances, we too can experience his peace. He is with us. Thanks be to God for that word today. As always, here on Straight Talk, we remind you, we encourage you to spend time each and every day focused on his word, meditating on his grace and how awesome he is, whether it be the morning or the evening or right here with me, Monday through Thursday on Straight Talk. Shout out to my mom. I see you. Thank you for all your love on Facebook. I see Mr. Kenneth Bryan sending some love. Thank you, sir. And I have thank you for those who are Miss Melinda. Thank you for tuning in as always here to Straight Talk. Appreciate you all. Shout out to Siobhan. I see you tuned in, Mr. Alric Lindsay. Thank you all who are tuned in this afternoon. I'll be joined shortly after a brief COVID-19 update. Mr. Mario Rankin will is joining me as my guest for this show to talk about, in large part, of course, the voice note that has circulated, and so we'll get to talk to him about that and discuss that in detail. But of course, we had our usual press briefing this afternoon. They did not have any cases to report this afternoon, any results to report this afternoon in relation to any COVID tests. So they did not have that. All reports seemed generally okay. I've also received reports that the anticipated British Airways flight that some previously it said was going to arrive on Tuesday. The question was raised in the press conference this afternoon about it arriving this evening, and my understanding is that has touched down in, I guess, about the last 15 minutes since I've been in studio. Is my understanding it arrived recently. The governor did indicate that very strict guidelines were going to be followed in terms of isolating crew because I believe it does not leave until tomorrow. They did do a drop off in Bermuda and bringing supplies and about 60 passengers home from the UK, Caymanians and other people who have the entitlement to be resident here, who are supposed to go into government provided isolation facilities. So that flight has arrived, and I'm sure going through the necessary customs and immigration clearance at this time, and then being handled accordingly. Please, I encourage you each and every day to tune in to the daily COVID-19 government briefings. Every day there is our new updates and more, relevant information. And there are also reports received today that the Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, Mr. Boris Johnson, was moved to the ICU because, of course, he did was found positive for COVID-19. We did receive reports over the weekend that he was admitted to hospital and has since been moved into the ICU today as well, as global numbers continue to rise. And all I can say is hashtag stay home Cayman. We all need to play our part in protecting our community and especially our most vulnerable here, so that we can hopefully resume some level of domestic activity in short course. And so I encourage you, stay home. I know that the police, the RCIPS, and those who have been newly inducted into the RCIPS, supported by people such as the CBC, are doing roadblocks and being very stringent with checking to ensure that people are abiding by curfews and all the regulations that have been put into place. Let us do our part in all of this so that we can do our best to resume normal activity, domestic normal activity, as quickly as possible. With that, I will invite Mr. Mario Rankin into the conversation. I know normally we're used to him being in studio with me, and I think for a good stretch of time, we've spent, I think, most of our time in recent past discussing ports and the like. But today, is for a different conversation. I think over the last, Mario, can you hear me? Let's just do a quick check, make sure that we can both hear each other.
Yeah, I can hear you. Ideally, it would have could have been a little louder, but I can hear you. I just hope
Okay.
you can hear me clearly and your audience.
Yes, I can hear you. I think we're good on this side. For those of you who are on the Facebook stream, of course, we are streaming from my personal Facebook page today, Ruthana M Young on Facebook. So if you want to follow on the Facebook stream, or of course, radio is as always right here. And so, Mario, it's been, I guess, an eventful. What's it been? 2 days in your life?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Okay. And for those who, I guess, are unaware, there was a voice note that started to circulate, which I guess later, people, I'm not sure. And I guess help me with this. I
Well,
don't think at first, I guess a name was connected to it, but people suspected, who it was. But ultimately, it was you, right?
well,
And so, mhm,
yeah, absolutely. And I think for absolute clarity, Rutana, and I think that this is where a lot of times people form an opinion based on things that they hear as opposed to what they know. And it's very similar, and it's ironic that, even within the voice note itself,
mhm,
again, was about misinformation. So what I would like to clarify, obviously, is that one,
mhm,
um, that voice note, which was a voice text, not a recording, was in response to chat that we had in our private chat group.
mhm,
And if anyone is aware of WhatsApp, WhatsApp is not a social platform. It's a private app that allows you to exchange information by way of text, even phone call, or even voice text.
mhm,
And it's encrypted and it's specifically designed for private use.
mhm.
Obviously, Ruthana, I think he who has not sinned shall cast the first stone. And I think that we're all guilty of saying things um, that we wouldn't want in the general public to hear, or even circulate within the public. Still, that doesn't justify anything. The reality is that there was a level of trust betrayed within that chat group, because other things has been expressed in there that are sensitive, that has never leaked out. And I just don't understand. I thought that I could have expressed how I felt personally, um, to a group that I normally express myself to, without any fear of it being posted anywhere else or taken in and forwarded anywhere else. I'll give you a joke behind that. Yeah, the evening that it came out, my cousin that lives up the street, he sent me a text saying, "Hey, this thing gone viral." And I'm like, "Oh, I'm not sure what you're talking about." Then he sent it to me, and when I heard it, my heart sank, because I was like, "Wait a minute, well, how did you get that?"
Mm-hmm.
And he said he got it from two other chats. And I said, "Oh man," I said that's not good. I said, "Can you please tell me who sent it?"
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, at that very moment, I launched a immediate inquiry into trying to resolve how it got out into the public. And as I as I kept getting the messages and the alarm and stuff behind it, I reached out to the deputy governor immediately,
Mm-hmm.
and I said to him that it's unfortunate that this had happened, and that I wanted to express my apology, express my apology to the governor and his wife, because obviously that voice text wasn't meant for circulation. Um, and truly, I think we all have the freedom of speech and freedom of opinion, and once we don't state it publicly, where it creates any discomfort for anyone in which you are sharing your opinion on, then I think that that's where the fine line is. But again, it's out there now. It's unfortunate that someone felt the need to share it outside of our private chat group. I expressed my sincere concern to our group. I asked them, the person who shared it, to come forward. They have not come forward to this date. I've even asked the deputy governor if it was okay if I sent him the list of individuals who are in there, so that they could ask the providers to see their WhatsApp activity to verify who sent it out, so
Mm-hmm.
we could get to the bottom of it. Obviously, you know, the way Cayman is and the way things are sensationalized. And obviously, we have other platforms who claim that they're credible news sources. Obviously, we've seen where that particular platform has been sued on numerous occasions. Some unsuccessful, some was successful.
Mm-hmm.
But it's unfortunate because not even to that person on that news platform chose to even call and ask me anything about it. They just decided to run with whatever they heard. But again, we're used to that in Cayman. Obviously, everybody's going to form their opinion about the situation. And truthfully, Ruthana, you know, like I said to the governor via text through the deputy governor, sending my apologies. I have no shame, or I had no reservations with apologizing to the governor, that it got out into the public. You follow what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
It was unfortunate that it happened, and I do apologize to the governor and his wife that it got out into the public platform and people started to circulate it and started forming all these malicious opinions based on it.
Mm-hmm.
So again,
Can I
we can't put the
can I
sorry.
ask? I know you said that you received, like, you started to receive messages. That's how you learned that it had gotten
Yes,
out, right? What were some of the things that people said to you directly about the message?
they were saying thank you a lot, and you see, this is where I get a bit confused these last 2 days, because some of the same individuals who had expressed support in the tech and that voice text are now saying, oh well, I shouldn't have said it. Don't get me wrong, Ruth, and it's not about whether I should have said it or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's about anyone who've expressed their opinion about a situation, and they express it to someone in private, and once that level of privacy is broken, and then it's put out into public for public perception. What it does is it creates a situation where, obviously, if it was something that I felt was something I wanted to share with the public, have I ever swayed away from sharing my opinion publicly ever in the past about anything, about anyone?
And
I've never
where
won.
mm-hmm. And
And if you
go ahead.
sorry, and if you listen to it, right,
Mm-hmm.
and you listen to how everything was termed in there in terms of the profanity and the level of bad words,
Mm-hmm.
you know very well that I was expressing that privately to a private group,
Mm-hmm.
meaning that I would never speak publicly in that manner. I've
Mm-hmm.
never spoke publicly in that manner on a public platform. It was my personal opinion about something, and then it was publicized. Now, when I look at some of the things that has transpired since, and I just wanted to say this just to do a little house cleaning, right?
Mm-hmm.
And and it's important that we hear all sides of what's taking place. If it's that much important to a person to have formulated an opinion and shared it publicly, because I've seen a lot of things going around in the public, about me, some good, some bad. I got broad shoulders. I'll say this just to highlight a scenario. In 2012, I was surrounded by almost every police in the police force with my 11-year-old son in the car, right? To be arrested, Ruthana,
Mm-hmm.
on an immigration charge of a person suspected to be driving a dump truck without a work permit. Every police officer, including immigration, arrested me with my 11-year-old son in the car, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then they took me to court. Subsequently, closed all of my businesses, took everything that I had financially, took me to court for 2.5 years, and then they told me, "Oh, we're sorry, we didn't have any evidence."
Mm.
So obviously, I'm used to having certain things in the public play out when it comes to my life, and this is no different from anything else. Now, where I'm disappointed, Rutano, and this is the bit of house cleaning I
But
want to do.
sorry, just okay. So while you're kind of on that topic now, some people, some of the stuff that's circulating around it is, and even as it's come up loosely in press conferences and such, there, the reference to fake news. Would you consider what you said fake news? Because of course the issue has now
Well,
been around,
okay,
what the government has maintained about, in essence, prosecuting people for what it is fake
right.
news circulating during this time, and that's
Well,
the wording that's been put around this voice note. Do you think this is fake news?
well, here's the thing, Ruthana, and I'm glad you asked that question because again, I think that we have to be very careful, including the government, including the powers that are handling the situation.
Mhm.
Remember, in order for this to be fake news, it would have to been it would have I would have had to publish it on a news platform, right? That voice message would have had to been publicly put out there by me on a public platform as news for it to be fake news. Now, if they said it's a fake rumor that has been circulating by a voice text, then guilty as charged. You follow what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So for anyone to label it fake news, including Sandra Catron, Sandra Hill, or whichever name she chooses to use today, for them to put it out as fake news, in fact, is fake news in itself. Her headline yesterday was Rankin, not Mario Rankin. Rankin investigated for voice note of fake news, blah blah blah.
Mhm.
And yet I'm sitting there reading that the commissioner never mentioned anybody's name when he said they were investigating. And that didn't come from the press conference. Now I wanted to know, and in fact, it's not that important because everybody know that everything that Sandra puts up is all based on impulse and controversy only. I proved that one afternoon, one morning at Full of Beans, where I deliberately dropped something to her, and within 5 minutes I got in my car. I looked; it was on Cape Mall Road, and it was just me spread. It was just me saying something that was incorrect for her to use, and she used it. And if she cared to know what that was in reference to, I can give her the details. In fact, we can go back to her video and see it. But again, I'm not here to discredit Sandra or anything. It's just here to create a balance between it all, right?
Mhm.
And where people may feel like, oh well, you need to just come out and do this and no justification. I never once said that I didn't do the voice note. I never once said that I didn't say the things that I said in there. What I did say was is that my privacy was breached because I said it in a private platform amongst private people whom I thought I could trust. And I had trusted in the past. And I've said numerous other things in there about various topics. But again, it's not all about that. Let's look at the greater issue here, right? And this is where I think we lost sight of it. The premier decides to go into that he's ashamed to be in a Caymanian today because of what I said on a private voice note. Now, granted, if the premier can get up on a podium and honestly say he's never said anything derogatory towards anybody in private or even in public, then we would all know that not to be true. But this is not to defame anyone, but this is just to set the record straight. If the premier is comfortable with having the Speaker of the House being investigated for assault charges on a woman because he was too drunk, he sits across the hall in the Legislative Assembly with a person named Austin Harris, who was also found guilty but with no record convicted, no conviction recorded, who sits in the House of Parliament, who was elected after the fact, and yet they were all blamed it on alcohol, that they were too drunk because they didn't remember what they were doing. Now here's the irony in that for the premier. So if the premier never ever expressed his embarrassment of the speaker assaulting a woman or his current junior shadow minister, whatever you want to label him, going to court admitting that he assaulted a woman because he was too drunk. And then last week we heard where the premier himself got on radio and defended liquor stores on being open because it was an essential part of our society. Now, can you imagine? Now, granted, whether whether I like liquor stores being open or not, or whether I participate or not, that has nothing to do with the whole picture here. So if the premier wanted to be embarrassed by something, or he wanted to be ashamed about something, or if he wanted to apologize for something, did he apologize to the woman that the speaker assaulted or allegedly assaulted? Did he go and apologize to her? Did he apologize to the woman that we know Austin admitted on assaulting? Did he go and apologize to her? Or did he apologize for the numerous other things that happened in the public under his watch? For individuals that was with him, Osborne Borden, when he called Miss Jennifer Ahorn Driftwood. Jennifer has two Caymanian children and married to multiple Caymanians. That was out of line. But you see, this selective memory and this convenient utterances to discredit a member of CPR who just recently defeated the entire government from building a useless cruise berthing facility in our society. I just thought it was distasteful that the premier would have chosen that opportunity to play politics in a time of need, and with his fake tears choking up because he was asked a question that he wasn't prepared to answer. Now, Mr. Premier, in case you didn't know, or in case you weren't in communication with the deputy governor and the governor, I truly, sincerely apologized to the governor in terms of what happened and what transpired. It was not my intention for someone in our group to share it with Anna, and I take full responsibility for the contents of that note.
And then do you I know you said that you submitted the names of all the people in the group and such to the deputy governor. Do you know who it is at this point that would have shared the message in the group?
No, it's an ongoing investigation by the commissioner, and I can't comment on any of those things because obviously I don't know, and even if I did, I wouldn't be at liberty to share it because it's an ongoing investigation.
Are you still
What
in
I
that
do,
chat group?
sorry.
Are you still in the group?
Well, yeah, I'm still in the group, but I can assure you the only thing that I've been sharing in there is, can the trader please stand forward? The thing
Mhm.
is with Dana is that I still view everyone in there the same. The problem is that I thought that they would have stepped up to the plate and just said, hey, you know what, Mario, I shared it not realizing that it would have this type of impact. Then we could have all gotten together, issued a public statement, apologize to the governor and his wife, and all these other things, and maybe we could have gotten this unnecessary episode behind us. Now, what's even more ironic about this? Here we are struggling in a time to try to figure out when are we going to get back to even 2% of normalcy in our island, and we're being detracted by a private voice text that was maliciously sent out or unintentionally sent out, which have now created some level of discomfort for our governor. Now, the thing is that I feel that if we can rally around the governor, we should rally around our other politicians who have also been subject to malicious rumors and all these different disinformation and all these different things. Let's keep it across the board. We all got a part to play here. And unlike what some people on some social media suggested that I wasn't avoiding anything. I never avoid anything. Trust me, dealing with this is just like dealing with everything else. And I've expressed to the deputy governor, and he can confirm this, that I was upfront and willing to assist with any investigation that he wanted to do to get to the bottom of this. In fact, I insisted because I too wanted to get to the bottom of it because I was also upset that level of privacy was breached by one individual within the group. And again, it's
And can I ask you, and still, I'm receiving messages from people, saying, requests for people from me to say, send a voice note, that kind of stuff, and I. Those are things I won't do to perpetuate something like this. However,
right.
I guess one of my questions is that is that, because I don't know if the governor's wife came on
Well,
that flight or not.
I shared. Sorry,
Mhm.
Ruth, I didn't mean to cut you.
No,
But I
and
shared I screenshot and sent it to the deputy governor what sparked the whole conversation, right? And it was a message from an individual on Facebook, and I screenshot it and I shared it. Now now what I would say, just so that we maintain some level of focus, it's important, Rutana, that let's take the governor wife out of the equation, for instance, right? Because prior to that voice text going around, every single soul that I was in contact with personally was opposed to this British Airways flight coming to Cayman with anybody on it.
mhm,
Okay? I mean, people were fit to be tied. People were upset about it. And what has been lost in translation of all of this, whether or not the governor wife is coming on it, doesn't change the fact that we are taking a risk
mhm,
and that we are bringing in people that are coming on the flight that could be potentially infected. Now, here's one other thing that I wanted to point out about that flight. It's interesting that after we posted an article from the Royal Gazette in Bermuda saying that Bermudians were coming on that flight, the government never told us that any Bermudians were coming on that flight. Not one time. It was always where the governor was in talks, or the governor and the government was in talks with creating a bridge through Bermuda because they were having difficulties trying to get through Bahamas.
Mm-hmm.
And all we knew is that they had established this connection and that what was taking place. Never once did the governors or the premier or any member that's in charge of this situation said to us in the beginning that this flight was going to also be carrying persons from Bermuda who were stuck in the UK. We never knew that until the article came out in the Royal Gazette and it was shared.
Mm-hmm. And yeah,
So
and they did say it, I
so
think,
there
in the
was there
press
was so
conference.
much speculation surrounding this, right? And it was so much emotion surrounding it. Because remember, I have a friend who his daughter and his grandchildren are coming on that, who I am happy for because obviously he has an opportunity now to look after his grandkids and his daughter right here in Cayman, right? And for me, I'm torn on both sides of this thing because one, I'm saying, well, they should have been quarantined in the UK before allowed getting on the plane. And when they come here, it should be mandatory isolation for up to 21 to 25 days because
Mm.
we just don't know how long the mutation period takes.
And sorry, and I just want to before, because as we run up to the next break, there's a lot of comments coming in on Facebook, and questions coming in through all sorts of avenues, and one of the questions being, if the shoe was on the other foot, would you, like, if this was something that was done, to you, if it was vice versa, would you want, the other person arrested?
You know what? You know what, Rosanna?
Mhm.
This if the shoe was on the other foot, that's a joke. You know how many times I've been criticized of doing all sorts of things. Remember, just last year I was criticized for taking money from the tender company for supporting the cruise birthing facility. I mean, for supporting CPR. I've been accused of so many heinous things in my life, all of which have never been true. But if the shoe was on the other foot, all I would have simply said, look, if someone has that opinion, this is have we lost the freedom of speech? Now, I didn't say that in a public platform. I said that in a private platform, Rosanna. And I think that's where everybody's missing this whole point. You know, I said it privately. If somebody chose to share it publicly, and it's created discomfort for the governor, I manned up and I said that I apologize to the governor and his wife for any discomfort this may have caused. It was not meant to be or intended to be public. It was a private conversation between me and my colleagues. However, someone in the group felt the need that they should broadcast it, which was wrong, and this is where we are now. What I would love to happen is for that person to fess up and say, hey, I was the person that leaked it, and I too apologize for the discomfort that the governor has experienced through this. So at the end of the day,
How
we
how
should be.
important how important do you think that is to, because some of the sentiments to that is that it doesn't matter who leaked it. What's more important is, it basically what was said, and who said it. For you, why is that important? Why do you
You
think
know
that
what?
is
You know
important?
why it's important who sent it, Rutana, and for all of those hypocrites who are out there saying, but it doesn't matter who said who leaked it. The reality is that 90% of the people who are out there criticizing Mario Rankin are people who have said something probably far worse to a close confidant or a friend, in which it wasn't leaked, and they weren't held accountable for it. The problem is that this ain't about pointing fingers at me or another Caymanians. There's no time for us to create any separation amongst ourselves. This is the one time in our history where we all have to demonstrate some level of patriotism and unity. And the reality is, if I had said that about the premier, everybody would have got behind me, and half the people probably would have supported it, or they would have expressed their dislike. And these are the type of things that I don't understand. So if we can rally around the governor, we should rally around the premier too, and all of cabinet in the same regard. So in a matter of it being the shoe being on the next foot, I've had worse shoes on the next foot many other occasions. And for me, it's important that we find out who circulated it, because that person obviously need to answer some questions in terms of why would you circulate something like that,
Mhm.
because there are many other things that they could have circulated that they didn't.
Okay, I want to read one. I'm going to read one question from Facebook before we go out to the break, and then I'll ask you if you could stick around with me because a lot of
No, I'll
commentaries.
stick around. Just answer everybody. I'm down for that.
So Heidi says, so basically saying, so a friend turned you in as a question. So basically asking if the fact that basically was this circulated by someone that you consider a friend.
Well, up until the moment that I got something that I know is private from a public source, I knew then that some level of trust was betrayed. Now I don't want to hold grudges long. Obviously, I consider everybody's friends, and if that person reveal themselves and we get past this, I don't have any reason still interacting with those persons. Because people make mistakes and people are subject to change. And I'm not one of those people to harp on things for the rest of my life. I don't have that kind of energy. Life is too short.
Life is short, proving more so every day. Actually, if you could stick with me, I am going out to my first break of our time
Sure.
together. Guys, I'll be back after. Give me about 2 minutes. We'll be right back for more of this conversation with Mr. Mario Rankin. I see all of the questions and comments coming in through Facebook. I will try to get to most, if not all of them, in the second half of the show. And I see some of you sending me questions via WhatsApp as well, 324-1565. If you want your questions answered, you can also send them by WhatsApp. If you are not on Facebook, our Facebook stream today is from my personal page, Ruthana M. Young. Keep it locked to Straight Talk on Star
The
92.7.
phone lines are now open. 943-3700. You can also find us on Facebook or email us at straighttalkci@gmail.
Think about something that makes you happy. Did it make you smile? We know it did, because that's what we do at Sagicor. Put smiles on our clients' faces every day. With a large range of products to cover your family, it's no wonder most locals choose Sagicor for their life insurance needs. Serving the community for over 25 years. Let us put a smile on your face. Call your Sagicor advisor today.
Burger King has been your family restaurant for many years. Bringing you delicious food in a safe environment has always been our number one priority. And until further notice, you'll only be able to visit us via drive-thru.
Get your motor running, pulling out past Red Bay, looking for a BK at whatever time of day. Burger King drive-thru.
Burger King's drive-thru is open at 7 Mile Beach, Waterfront Georgetown, Walkers Road, or Red Bay for breakfast, lunch, or dinner.
Kathy and Johnny were preparing for a party when suddenly something came up from the potty. This sink was clogged. They couldn't blame that on the dog. So Johnny took out his tools to look like a hero, but Kathy knew better. She gave him a 0. She knew what to do in the interest of time. Plus, we need to hurry. I'm running out of rhyme. To get rid of this mess, she reached out to the best and called Watler and Hislop to handle the rest. If you want to put them to the test, auger-cast pilings, deep well drilling, and heavy equipment services would be your best bet.
Call Watland Hislop Services, Cayman's #1 choice, 949-4880, or visit equipmentservices.ky.
In this time of crisis, we are right here to help keep the power on.
We are here to serve you. We are committed to ensuring that you have electricity. Without electricity, not many things will work.
We are right here to help keep the power turned on.
We are CUC. You can count on us.
Welcome back to Straight Talk with Ruth Anna on Star 927.
We are back, folks, and you are tuned into Straight Talk, brought to you exclusively by Star 92.7 Premium Radio. I am your host, Ruth Anna Young, with you until 6 o'clock this evening. It's now 5:38 on the Star 92.7 clock. Winding quickly, I have guest Mr. Mario Rankin, not in the studio with me, but joining me live via the live stream. Our live stream this afternoon is through my personal Facebook page, Ruthana M. Young on Facebook. Thank you to all those who are tuned in. 943-3700 is the line in studio. You can also ask any questions, comments, or concerns via WhatsApp 324-1565. And I do have a caller on the line, so I'm going to answer the caller and then go to some of the questions that have come in via Facebook. Thank you all so much. Melanie, Heidi, Siobhan, Sandra, Quincy, James, all of you who are Wendy, all of Shadden, thank you for all of you who are sending in questions. It will get to you on on Facebook as quickly as possible. I think I just lost the person who was on the phone line. So let me get straight to some of the questions that have come in via Facebook. And someone did ask earlier, I think Quincy asked earlier, basically saying, were you aware that, essentially asking, were you aware that fake news is they're saying that it's punishable by arrest and the like. And we kind of touched on that, but I want to get to the questions that have come in on Facebook. Hello?
Yeah,
There we
I
go.
thought, yeah, it showed that it was muted. Yeah, no, obviously, if it was fake news, then you would be subjected to charges if it was something that was a publication in the news media. And this wasn't. So I think that what everybody needs to understand is that in order to file criminal charges for fake news, it would have had to been a publication deliberate on a media platform that is used for news publication. Now, obviously, that's my personal interpretation of the law. I also saw a comment I read from I think it was Shaden McLaughlin saying if I'm worried about independent charges or,
Yes.
or criminal. The thing is that I didn't commit a crime. You follow what I'm saying? And I think we've established that. Um, but at the end of the day, and then you have people like Sandra who has her own personal interpretations on what private is. But obviously the lawsuit that Mr. Marco Archer filed against her proved that she still had a bit of learning to do in terms of what is right and wrong and what you can and what you can't say. But I'm not here to fuel Sandra's ego. Certainly, all of her articles speak for themselves. What I will say is this: is that, like I said, I was fully cooperative with the commissioner through the DG in terms of giving him what information I could in order to determine who actually leaked it. And then I guess it would just be a course of action the governor wants to take or the commissioner. I will say this to you that the governor had requested a public apology, which I already given twice on your show. And I think that he was saying that that would have been the end of it. Now, granted, the reason why I hadn't said anything earlier because I wanted to establish the facts surrounding the situation in terms of how it got out into the public, and it had nothing to do with me. Obviously, we know that certain news medias thrive off of controversy and hardship. But I can assure Sandra that this doesn't have a wrinkle in my pond. I'm good. I'm a big boy. I've taken far more criticism than this. Um,
We
you
have,
know, go
go
ahead.
ahead. Wendy Clark says on Facebook, I think it's to your earlier comment, she said, but this is not the way to bring unity and togetherness in such a time as we are living in. I think she was referencing when you said earlier that we all need to work together and, basically have unity to bring us through that time. That was her comment to
Right.
that. You addressed Shadden's comment, and have you received any indication that there could be any possible actions brought against you for this, or is it uncertain
No,
at this time?
I haven't gotten an indication. And like I said, I have been speaking with the deputy governor. Now, if there's any update prior to the last time I talked to him, I've yet to receive it. But certainly to Wendy's question and concern, again, I can't say this enough. I didn't share this. You follow what I'm saying? And the premier himself can attest that earlier in the week and even into the week before, I've sent him personal texts to his phone expressing my gratitude for the job that the government has been doing and the position that they have taken in terms of trying to limit the cases for community spread. Again, like I said, I have maintained throughout the entire process. Now, like I said, everybody's concerned about what Mario said in this voice text. But is anybody truly understanding the real concern that we had? And I think that that's where this emotional roller coaster started, was with the BA flight coming in. Period. Now, whether my friend's kids was on it, or whether the governor's wife was on it, or whether my brother or my sister was on it, the same threat still exists with the plane coming in with individuals who share the cockpit with other individuals who was dropped off in Bermuda, who could potentially have the virus that we are all trying to be protected from. And I think that was the genesis of the entire situation at hand. Now everybody's focusing in on the content of my voice text, and rightfully so. But again, they're forgetting that the text was done in a private group. that was never ever meant for public publication, and so therefore that voice note would have been far different had it been something that I would have published publicly. If I was going to express that concern publicly, it wouldn't have not been in the context that it was in that private note, obviously, right?
Um,
So it's important that we stop trying to focus on the messenger and what happened, and stop trying to create further division. Like I said, the premier can attest to this, and I'm sure that he has persons who are listening, that on several occasions I have commended him and I have given thanks for his for the way that him and the cabinet and the governor and the police has been handling the situation, right? And I can assure you, if there's one person that is abiding by all of the rules that have been put in place, it's me. I can tell you, I have not moved an inch in
staying
almost 39 hours.
fair
So
enough. And so I'm gonna read one comment from Facebook and then take a call that's on the line. Wendy Clark on Facebook says, "To a degree, I
I
can
think I lost
understand
you.
what Mario." Hello, Mario.
Can you hear me still?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Yeah.
Hello, hello.
Well, I could hear you, but barely.
Okay. So it says, to a degree, I can understand what Mario is saying, but we can't
Oh
lose
boy.
sight of the origination of the issue. It really is because one's choice to send a distasteful
I
recording, but for a turn of
can't hear you. I'm sorry.
okay, we're gonna work on sound because I do have a caller on the line that
I don't know what to do.
yep. Give me 1 second. Um and we're just trying to
I don't know.
is this can you hear me any better now?
Just a tad bit, but I'll
Is
have to
it
get really close. So forgive me for putting my face close to the phone.
okay? All right, no problem. So let me go ahead and take the caller on the line. Welcome to Straight Talk. What's on your mind today? Hello? Hello?
Hello,
Hello.
can you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah,
I can. Yes.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm
Dana, I
calling the show.
sincerely apologize. I
Very, very
can't hear, so I
controversial
don't know
topic this afternoon, which
how
means your
effective.
ratings are skyrocketing. A lot of people are tuned in.
Mm-hmm.
Not to say that they don't normally tune in, but on a
Mm-hmm.
day like today, something so topical and so controversial, you have a lot of people, extra people tuning in.
Yes.
And it would appear then that we have to be very careful what we say.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, whether I'm a member of a lot of private WhatsApp chats, and the unfortunate thing about this whole ordeal is here is a private voice message or a voice message intended for the ears of a select few in a private chat has now gotten into the public domain.
Mm-hmm.
And Mr. Rankin has apologized that it has gotten into the public domain. He has not denied saying it, and he has not apologized for saying it because he didn't know it would have gotten to this.
Mm-hmm.
You got to trust your friends. You got to be so careful because somebody who you trust will let you out. So people are very vocal, freedom of speech. But I know in Jamaica quite recently, police arrested somebody pretending to be a dancehall artist for disrespecting the government.
Mm-hmm.
He went into hiding and he was found under a bed. So what I'm saying is we all have to exhibit a level of responsibility because we can be arrested for slander. We can be arrested for libel, for calumny. And in the vein of freedom of speech, though, as a citizen, I would think I have the right to pick up the phone or to send a voice note to my WhatsApp group saying how I truly feel. And if I choose to use expletives, we're all adults. But you see, we behave differently when we're broadcasting on radio or if we're on a platform. Mr. Rankin must realize that he is not really liked by the administration, and you can understand why. Mr. Rankin is a part of CPR, so there's a lot of politics at play, underplay, if I can say that. So we have to be careful how we, what we say in general terms. I'm interested to see how this plays out because pointing fingers at other people in society who have done wrong don't cut it because they're at different levels in the club. There are different membership levels of the club. There's certain things the president of the United States can do, and people of the House can do because they're at different levels. They're not fired so easily. Other ones like us, we just new members to the club. We got to pay our dues, so we can't get away with things. I really want to see how this can work. And I also want to warn my friend and Kim and Brack, who is listening. He's always wanting people to be allowed to fish, especially Caymanians. That's not going to happen. You tried. It's not going to happen. Everybody is allowed to go for a little swim, for exercise, walk the beach, but nobody is allowed out on boats to fish. That's not allowed. And I want to commend another bracker who put up a post today. He normally doesn't comment, but he commented. And that's it. That's it for now.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much, Quincy. Always a pleasure to hear from you as well. I do have some other callers coming in as well. I will, and I think we're Mario. I think Mario is coming back and he's around. But you're here. You can hear me.
Yeah, I had to. I think it was a call was coming in, so what it did, it muted the call automatically, and then it wouldn't come off of mute.
Okay.
So I had to go out and come back in.
Okay, so I have another call coming in, so hopefully you'll be able to hear the call.
I heard Quincy's. Thank God.
Okay. Welcome to Straight Talk. What's on your mind today?
Afternoon, guys.
Afternoon. How are you?
Good. Just a clarification on that previous caller. I think the commissioner did say that there was no activities on the beach, so you can't even go for a swim. So you might want to figure that one out first before you go swimming, because you might get arrested too.
I think they did clarify that we are allowed to go for a swim, like we are allowed to go for our 90 minutes of exercise, and you're allowed to go fishing from the shore also under that 90 minutes of exercise, but no water activity in terms of kayaking, no going out on the boat, no jet skis, none of that. So that they did clarify that since that time. Yeah. So we are allowed to go to the beach.
That's good.
For the 90 minutes, except
last
Sunday.
Last time I heard, there was nothing on the water.
Correct. I think that was said in yesterday's press briefing, and thankfully it's been clarified since then.
All right. So the next one is on this topic here. It just seems like, all right, first of all, if you get caught spinning around a certain video or anything like that, you can get prosecuted, right? So then whoever leaked out this video, this voice note, that's who the police can go after. Because at the end, they was in a private setting. It has a group chat, but it's still private. He didn't say it out.
Some disagree that it was private.
It didn't come out like the caller just said that the guy in Jamaica. I'm sure that one in Jamaica, he was just all ranting against the government. That's a different thing. And like he said, this is politics at play. They all want Mario. You know how that is. That is not new. Mario came out and apologized. You're making too much of a big deal out of nothing. Trump, everybody gets some sort of little teasing here and there. Well, what's the big deal with this situation? And it was private. So, I'm just saying, they'll probably go after Mario because, we all know how that goes. Somebody want him. But he apologized. I think that should be the end of it.
Okay, so for you, everyone makes mistakes. He's apologized, and for you, that's adequate.
Yeah. And they should go after the person that actually leaked
that actually
the
sent
audio.
it out. Okay, so you feel like that for you, that's where the prosecution, so to speak, should lie. Those who circulate it. Okay, and I'm interested to see how different people view it. So because everyone has their opinion. But thank you so much for that.
If I leak a video of some porn picture or something, they're gonna come after me. It could have been in a private grouping, and I put it out.
That's right.
Who are they gonna chase back to? This is the same situation.
Correct. Yes. But thank you. I do have some other callers and trying to get into some of. Thank you so much. And let me read one WhatsApp message that says, at least he was man enough to be honest. I'm not saying he's right for what he did, but this is a time that we must this is a time that we must forget. I will go to another caller. Welcome to Straight Talk. What's on your mind today?
Hello, lady.
Hello. How are you?
Good. Mario, you there?
I'm here.
Hey, Mario. Hey, Rutana, Siobhan here. Guys, I was just listening. I ain't going lying. Since everybody is just putting such a somber thing on this voice note, I really think I need to try track it down here it myself. I'm just kidding. But just to put some perspective into it, that previous caller is absolutely right. I haven't heard the voice note. I don't know the content of it per se, other than what was alluded to in the public domain. And I see people going off on defamation and slander, and just so that they all know that those are all legal terms. There's a balance that has to, there's something that has to be satisfied in order for those things to be considered defamation. Defamation basically is you are willfully telling an untruth. I didn't hear the voice note, only the fact that he said the governor was on the flight. Something to that extent. I could be even wrong about that because I heard that second hand or third hand. Probably by the time it got to me, it was 100 hand. But that's the reality of it. Mario is right in that he shared it in a private setting. He had all right to share that in a private setting if he so wanted to do. Absolutely nothing wrong with that, in my opinion. He needs to see who the sheep and wolf clothing is amongst his group. But people are absolutely he's absolutely right. I myself had a big issue with this BA flight coming. I didn't create a voice note and send it around. Not that him sending a voice note and sending it around, stating his displeasure with what that was. Is it? But he is absolutely right. We got bigger fish to fry. I'm not condoning what he did by any means. He has apologized. There are many things that have gone on in this country far worse that we spend less time criticizing and cursing and carrying on about. I mean, they just find something to hang their hat on, and they're just absolutely hanging their hat on it. I mean, we still got to speak of that. We have yet to know what the hell is going on there. I mean, come on now, we got bigger fish to fry. We gonna either get hung up on this and make Corona eat us all, or we gotta get on with the duties of the country. I just gonna leave you guys there. We spend too much time on what's not important and not enough on what we should be spending it on. I mean, we really need to pick up and move on from this.
All right. Thank you very much as always, ma'am.
Bye.
Bye. A couple other things have come in. Sandra Hill saying that a group of 7 is not private.
Ruthana, let me answer that, because obviously Sandra's interpretation of anything is questionable. Hence the reason of her multiple lawsuits. Because the persons who've taken her to court has failed to do the proper due diligence in order to make it stick. I mean, Marco did the right thing. She got convicted.
Just while you're responding quickly, Sandra Hill is online and is requesting to join in on our video.
No. I don't want to be on the same platform with somebody of that magnitude and that caliber. I apologize, but don't want to be on any platform with Sandra Catron.
Okay, fair enough.
So let me, since you're listening, Sandra, you listen very well. Go and read the info fact definition of WhatsApp. I can recite it for you because I know it by heart. And the WhatsApp app was developed for encrypted privacy, specifically not for videos, messages, or voice messages, or texts to fall into the wrong hands. That's what it says on their website. Now, I don't have to justify the purpose of WhatsApp. It's very simple. Your interpretation that 7 people isn't private, that's your interpretation. Because I know one thing for sure, what Cabinet and Caucus discuss within the walls of Cabinet and Caucus is a private conversation that is held by the government that nobody's privy to. So you must understand, when you're talking about levels of privacy, if somebody chooses, and I agree with the 2 callers that just came off, if let's just say, for instance, the governor's email was hacked and somebody was sharing his emails around the public, and the governor then found out who shared those emails and who hacked them, that person would be prosecuted for doing so. Now the contents of those emails might have been incriminating. It might have been some things that he might have had private to himself. But again, it's not the content that is more detrimental. It's the act of breaching the privacy and breaching that platform and sharing it publicly. The guy in Jamaica was arrested because he shared it publicly, Ruth Anna. People are still missing the fact that I did not share this publicly. I shared it. It was a voice text. It wasn't even a voice note. It was me holding down the voice text option on the WhatsApp platform, right? And I responded in a WhatsApp text. It was not broadcasted to anyone outside of that private group. Now again,
and I challenge line as well.
Yeah, I challenge anyone to go find a group that I am in that's more than 7 or 9 people. Never find. In fact, I'm only involved with the Smith-Macadair, Save the Smith-Macadair group, and this particular group, and others associated with CPR. So I just think that Sandra is trying so hard to try to stir up controversy because of who I am, and she's forgetting about her own track record in terms of misinformation. It cannot be fake news if it was not published as news in the first place.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted, I didn't come on here to argue with people. I came here to shed some clarity. Like I said, I never once denied it being me on the voice text that was that was maliciously leaked out. I've never once denied that. In fact, the moment I heard it myself, the timeline between me hearing it, asking the people in the group who said it, and me reaching out to the deputy governor are all within minutes, Ruthana, because it was that concerning to me. And I know that the deputy governor could concur. What Sandra should do, what Sandra should say, is how she got a copy of a private a private text that I sent to the deputy governor, who forwarded directly to the governor, how she got a copy of that and published it on her page. That's what the commissioner should be investigating.
Let me go. I have a number of calls on the line. Let me take some of these calls before
Sure.
Because we are at 6:00. Welcome to Straight Talk. What's on your mind today? Hello.
Hello.
Hi. You're on air. What's on your mind today?
Hi. I just want to make an observation. I'm not saying anything about Mario or anything. I just want to make an observation here. A couple of years ago, a government employee put a voice note in her private family chat. It was something to do with pensions. I don't remember the exact thing right now, but it was something to do with a pensions law that was going to be passed. And it was in her private family chat, and that got broadcast as well. And she suffered greatly, not only from the public, but from government as well in her job. And I think she still probably suffers to this day. So the same way that was done, and she had to pay the price. And I understand that Mario has apologized, and that's admirable.
But there's a difference. If I'm allowed to
whatever goes for one,
interject.
should go for the other.
Right. I think he's trying to respond to you. Go ahead.
Can I interject? You have to remember what you said, that she shared government information that was confidential to government. So whether she shared it, she shared government confidential information about a law.
Government private information that was confidential about a law.
Yeah, but my voice text was my personal.
I don't think it was confidential. I think it was.
Well, you said, but that's what you said it was.
But probably got missed before it was sent out. My thing is that hers was also said in a private chat. So the same way he made his feelings known about what was happening on the flight or whatever it was, then she was doing it in his private chat. She was doing the same thing.
But the context.
And so for you, both of those situations are similar. And so the same way she had to pay the price as you put it, then it should be the same in this case.
Yes.
Okay.
That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
All right.
But,
and I think, go ahead, Mario.
But Ruthana, I think that the caller has to understand that the contents of
not
both,
hearing him again.
I'll repeat what he said. The
contents in both cases are stark different. She was sharing government information prior to it coming out legally, and she was held accountable for breach of information of the privacy of the government in terms of a law. I shared my personal opinion. There's no law against me sharing my personal opinion privately. The only issue we have here is because my personal opinion that had no breach in any law was shared publicly, and it offended certain people. So the two instances may be similar, but far in comparison the same, because she shared confidential documents and information that was coming out before it came out, almost like insider trading. That in itself carries a penalty. And that's probably why.
Mario's basically saying that the content essentially is different. She shared private government information before it became public, whereas his was sharing his personal opinion of something, not anything to do with any government laws or anything like that. So for him, it is that the context and the content are of a different nature, and it being different. But I thank you so much for calling in. I'm trying to get to all the phone calls and such, and gonna run as long overtime as I can without missing curfew, of course.
Okay, thank you.
You need to get it. You don't get you in no trouble.
I'm doing my best. I will go to the next caller. Welcome to Straight Talk. What's on your mind today?
Hi, Ruthanna.
Hi, good afternoon. How are you doing?
I'm good, thanks. Just wanting to address a few things that Mario has said. In his desire to dismiss what he has done, he lashes out at me. He lashes out at whoever he says made this get in the public domain. And in doing so, he's providing false information, which I wish to clarify. He keeps going back to this lawsuit with Marco Archer, and I'm not really sure why, because obviously he does not even comprehend what transpired or how that lawsuit ended. He needs to read the documentation. It was a situation where the parties simply walked away. He got a written apology, not a dime, not a $5,000 fine, and certainly not 5 years in prison. The other thing that he needs to be aware of, everyone is a legal expert all of a sudden. Siobhan says there's no malice, and there has to be malice for defamation. I know Siobhan is in law school, but I'm going to invite her to review the actual common law of defamation, and she will, or slander, and she will rethink what she just publicly said on air, trying to educate people, because she's 100% wrong. There's no malice required whatsoever. Now, this isn't a defamation case. This is a question of publication of alleged fake or false information. Mario needs to go look up the definition of what legally constitutes publication. And he might be surprised to know that he should probably get a lawyer because they have a much stronger case than he's willing to admit. The other thing that I'm confused about, I tuned into your show a little bit late, but it seems like now Mario's saying that this is his opinion and he's entitled to his opinion. Okay. The problem with that is I'm confused for a number of reasons. Number one, what transpired keeps changing. First, it was a joke, and he actually said that in another voice note, and not meant to be real at all. We see the message that he sent to the deputy governor saying this was a joke. I don't know who in this small group of persons leaked this out, blah, blah, blah. And now we're hearing, no, it wasn't a joke. It was my opinion, and I'm entitled to my opinion, and it is in publication because I'm not the one who put it out there. Which is it? If you're looking for defense in a court of law, neither one of those are really sounding too firm for me. And yes, I've had tons of cases. But the one thing Mr. Mario seems to not want to tell the people is no one has actually won a case against me yet. I've never been convicted of anything. So until that day happens, I can have a million cases and I still walk around as an innocent person. Has this man not been arrested himself? And whilst Mario is trying to come at me, I didn't want to go in this direction with Anna, but let me just set the record straight on a couple of things. While Mario is trying to go at me, he needs to explain in November of last year, when I was going to publish that he was arrested for DUI yet again, why he was calling me, begging me not to do so. And out of the pity that I had for him and his story about people want to take away his own child from him, I decided not to publish it. Mario, don't come for me. Don't do it. If you're smart, don't do it. Ruth Anna, you of all people should know, I'm a fair person. And when it comes to Cayman Mall Road, if someone comes and says to me, just like they did about you, Ruth Anna is doing X, Y, Z, I'm going to come to you and say, Ruth Anna, this is the situation. I don't even want to get in this. As a Caymanian that has a bright future ahead of them, you're doing good things, take care of your business, do your shit. Only when I was absolutely forced to did I have to address your issues. And I try to do it as professionally as I can. So for him to want to sit back and talk about, oh, Cayman Mall Road's always peddling in fake news, really? That doesn't seem to be the case. We're not the ones who might be Grand Cayman's first case of getting arrested for fake news. It looks like it's actually going to be him and not us. You know, I'm not saying we've never put up something that wasn't incorrect, but we do our best to verify information. We have never in a million years circulated information like that in that manner. And if we were to do so, I would be woman enough to stand behind it and own it 100% and say that I was wrong. Oh, now he can publicly apologize to the governor because he's been asked to by the governor. Why didn't he do that from Saturday? Why wasn't that his first instinctual thing to do? You know why? Because that's not who Mario is.
And I am
trying to blame other people for somebody leaked this out. Ruth Anna, if you and I are having a private conversation, and we've all been there, you send out something in a group of more than one. What do you think is going to happen if the message sounds like that? You honestly don't think anyone's going to share that?
Well, it is the Cayman Islands, and one thing
I mean, Not even the Cayman Islands, anywhere in the world.
Well, I
If
think
someone
we
sent out
the
a voice
best at
note,
we the best at it. we
I
the
don't even
best
know,
at it.
girl.
I
I
think.
don't even know because I've seen stuff go viral in other jurisdictions. But listen,
I swear we the best at it. I think, maybe because we're so
send
small.
out send out something about the highest position in your country. In the United States of America, he would actually be arrested for that voice note forthwith. There would be no real investigation. Trump would have had him in jail a long time. That has 14 expletives in it in 43 seconds. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's your opinion. It didn't come across as an opinion. It came across as a fact. It stated, this is what the governor did. This is why he's doing. You know, I mean, it was just a despicable comment to make. But instead of taking accountability for the comment and that it was wrong, it's always about somebody else. It's about, oh, Sandra has an agenda. Sandra's trying to make me look bad. If I wanted you to look bad, Mario, I would have published that story in November about why you already have one DUI in court and you're still out there driving and drinking and crashing into something else. That's what I would have done. I'm not trying to make Caymanians look bad. You know what I'm saying? So don't come for me when people don't even know the real story. They don't know how I was willing to pass on this story, trying to give you a blight because I have a soft spot in my heart, which I really shouldn't have. You know what I'm saying? Because no good deed goes unpunished, apparently.
Well, that is the truth.
Saying, just own up to it. Your story keeps sliding. There's like a sliding scenario here. Oh, it was a joke. And then you put out your alter ego, the opposition leader of the loser, and try to come at me sideways. And even in that voice note, still making commentary about the governor. Sometimes you just have to recognize that we as human beings, and I have been there, we can be our own worst enemies.
Yes.
And if people are not going to be honest with us, and those people who think that this behavior is okay, and they're willing to give him a pass, and this is politics, and it's just his opinion, and blah, 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 it's a joke, those people who are willing to give him a pass in this community will know that some of us, if we're never held accountable, our behavior will never change. I'm going to leave you there, and thank you so much for your time, honey.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I have one last caller that I'll take and then read a couple of Facebook comments, and then we got to be out of here. Welcome to Straight Talk. What's in your mind today?
Rutana, how fitting it is that I'm on the line after she got off. First of all, let me just
it'll be my final phone call.
Let me just state this for Sandra, the troublemaker, who claims she never been convicted or never found guilty. Marco Archer sued her, and she was found liable and had to work out whatever resolution they had between each other. That's number one. Number two, you must be really good at what you do not to get caught. Secondly, Sandra is talking pure utter foolishness about me coming to her about anything else, and I'm sure she'll concoct some level of screenshots and texts, which I also have some that she sent me begging for information for other people, trying to implicate other people. Nobody's coming at Sandra. I was merely stating the fact. Sandra's biggest problem is that she doesn't know how to get real news, and she's talking about, I don't know nothing about the law. Well, Sandra, news flash. Let me explain something to you about publication. It was a private voice text, not a voice recording. And the publication was done in a private setting on a app that is specifically designed for privacy. Now, you telling me that I need to read the law or I need to understand the law and that my story keeps changing. My story has never changed, ever changed. Because if it was a publication that I wanted the public to hear, I would have sent it out in the public as I do every other publication that I'm not afraid of publicizing, simply because I know I can stand behind the content. And whether it's my opinion or whether it's something derogatory, it doesn't matter. It doesn't remove the element of freedom of speech. In fact, freedom of speech in a private setting in itself is a whole different thing. So she talked about I should get lawyers and all these different things, and that I should fess up to doing what? Like I said, I publicly apologize on this radio station. I apologized to the governor when it first came out. So I don't know what it is, Sandra, trying to say that I'm slipping and sliding and stories changing. What she should focus on is real, actual content of stories in which she can publish without having to retract or use the word alleged in every single article she has. This isn't about coming at Sandra. Sandra is guilty of multiple manipulation and of controversy and insinuations and all of these things that she put out in the public about people that she just don't know the truth of. So when you want to talk about fake news and false publication, she should be the one that have a bank of lawyers and a team of lawyers and all sorts of things, because nobody's coming at Sandra. barely, merely speaking the facts. She said that I crashed on a DUI. Not true. I have a DUI, yes. Now I know 150 different liners that have it too, 150 different Caymanians that have it, but I don't see Sandra talking about them. When you go to the courthouse, you don't see anybody other than Caymanians or locals. But the reality is that yeah, I live in a small society where, and the premier said it himself that he think that the liquor store is an essential part of a time of uncertainty, and that's why the liquor stores are allowed to stay open. Now, nobody's defending liquor, nobody's saying that. And if Sandra says she could have entered a smear campaign by telling people that I had a DUI, really, Sandra? You mean me and the other couple thousand that are subjected to it? But again, this not about me or Sandra, is it? Or is it Sandra's making it about me and her? This is about the content of a voice text that I sent privately. She wants to emphasize it because she has nothing else to do. They blocked her from the government press conferences, I assume, because I don't hear her asking any questions. But again, it's not about me or Sandra. It's not about what the public think and what the public don't think. It's about the context, the rights and the wrongs. You know, if Sandra's saying that I slip in or that I'm changing my story, then why would I reach out to you, Rosanna, to have this show? Did you reach out to me?
No, you did reach out to me.
All right. So, and it's not to save face and it's not to anything. I could have sat and said absolutely nothing about this, and it would have been like everything else. Next year, this time, it would have just been a memory. But I feel the need to express the clarity on what took place, because people are assuming that I did the voice note and sent it out for all to hear, and I did not do that. I did it in a private setting. It was maliciously put out there, and now we're having a conversation. Imagine now we having a whole hour conversation with the likes of Sandra Catron talking about whether Mario credible or Mario not. Listen, I didn't have to change my last name, you know. You understand? I gotta be a Rankin till the day I die.
And to touch on what you said, someone sent in a message to actually like put into context in with the law. So they sent it to me via message and says the second part of Penal Code Section 64(2) states that it shall be a defense to a charge under subsection 1 if the accused proves that prior to the publication he took such measures to verify the accuracy of such statement, rumor, or report as to lead him reasonably to believe that it was true. Mario just said that he reached out to the deputy governor's office to verify the accuracy of the statement. Somehow his private voice note was hijacked and published publicly. Number one, Mario didn't publish the statement, someone else did. Number two, he took such measures to verify the accuracy of the statement, which was hijacked and then published. Seems like Section 64 will fail upon application in court if pursued by the police because it doesn't meet the requirement of the law they're trying to charge him under. And so
I sincerely appreciate the contribution of said person and all persons, including Sandra, because we need that balance. We need to have a little crazy in the mix sometime. So at the end of the day, it's all good. Sandra, there's no hard feelings between you and I. The problem is that you like to give criticism, but when it's given to you, you flip a whole different personality, and that's your weak point. That's your flaw, Sandra. You must learn to take as much as you can give. But I can tell you, I hear you made a threat there about don't come for me. Well, I know one thing for sure. There's a lot more things that I could share in here. But again, I'm not here about tearing down Sandra Catron. That's not the point here.
Right.
I'll take the high road. You understand? Sandra has a family, so I'll respect that. So I'll never do anything deliberately to try to discredit Sandra. But when you come out and start making all these insinuations and trying to make the public believe that I'm trying to hide something, what am I trying to hide? I made the voice text. I apologized to the governor. Somebody took it out of a private setting and put it into the public. Those are the facts of the case. And that's as simple as it comes. You understand? I've expressed my sincere apology to the governor and his wife for whatever discomfort it was. So in the absence of me not doing that, then I don't understand what angle is or what story it is that Sandra has to write. You understand? Because there's no denial on my end. Her problem is that she fails to understand the definition of private versus public. And that's my person. Anyway, I know you over the time and I don't want you to be in no trouble.
Yes.
You have a good
Thank
one.
you so much. Be safe.
All right.
Thank
Okay,
you.
bye.
Bye. Guys, it is now 6:18 on the Star 92.7 clock, which means I'm about to be out of here. Thank you for all those who locked it in via radio, Facebook, sent WhatsApp messages, Facebook messages, commented on Facebook. I appreciate y'all. I'll be back again tomorrow for some straight talk right here on Star 92.7 at 5 p.m. sharp.